and we have Tendrill's own Devren Hobbs to talk about the question of, do rate plans actually drive energy efficiency?
Hi, everyone. All right, let's roll. Good evening. My question for you tonight is, do rate plans drive energy efficiency? And this is a really important topic because we might see some new rates soon in Colorado. And through my work with utilities at Tendrill and some additional research, I have some insights and recommendations to share with you tonight. So, probably not the folks in this room, but the general population doesn't have a great understanding of how much power costs. It's not like going to the gas station and watching the numbers go up. You just plug things in, turn on the lights, and you pay a variable bill at the end of the month. And historically, customers have been on what's called a flat rate, which means you take the total number of kilowatt hours, multiply it by a rate factor, add a few taxes and fees, and that's your bill. It makes energy efficiency really simple. If you use less, you pay less. However, utilities are now getting more creative with their rate plans. We're seeing this more and more as they roll out smart meters, which take reads more often, as electric vehicles come online, as we just talked about. People put solar on their roof. They're taking rates that they've previously used in commercial settings, and they're bringing them inside the home. So when I say utilities are getting creative, I mean they're getting very creative. We're seeing time of use, critical peak pricing, variable peak pricing, flat bill, fixed bill, increasing block rate, decreasing block rate, peak time rebates, real-time pricing, green energy rates, and more. Whew. So what should we collectively do with all of those options? How do we drive energy efficiency? Is it about a carrot, incentivizing customers to use less, or is it about a stick, where we penalize them if they use more? Let's look at a few examples. First up is time of use. So this is a variable cost depending on the time of day, day of week, and the season. So there's a carrot if you do your chores on a Sunday night when energy's cheap, and if you decide to do your vacuuming on a Thursday afternoon during peak time, there's a big old stick. It's really expensive. So the idea here is you want to shift usage out of peak times when power is more expensive and when it has a greater environmental impact, and it works. One study has shown that time of use rates reduce overall consumption by 1.2% and shift demand by about 7%. And if you combine TOU rates with a bigger carrot or a bigger stick, such as critical peak pricing, that's a really big stick, or peak time rewards, which is a really big carrot, we're seeing some amazing savings results. Another way to shift load out of peak times is a demand rate. So this also comes from the commercial world. It's a little complicated where your whole bill is calculated by the 1 hour across the billing period where you use the most energy. So it's a really big stick. It's in pilot phases now. We don't know what the results are yet. Another rate we're seeing is flat bill or fixed bill. This is kind of like your cell phone plan. You pay the same amount every single month. And I actually think this one is a little bit of a stick as well because it's this use it or lose it mentality. And regulators are concerned that it opens up this all-you-can-eat buffet energy efficiency nightmare, and they're actually right. I found a study that showed people use 6% more energy when they're on this type of rate plan. We're seeing some really crazy rates in deregulated markets like Texas. For example, free nights and weekends, which you could think of as a really extreme time of use rate with a big carrot, but the secret is they actually have excess wind power at night. So speaking of green energy, we're also seeing green rates come online. This is where you can pay a little bit more for community solar or wind. I couldn't find any data on this one either about if people use more or less, but it begs the question, if it's green, does it matter? How you pay your bill matters, though. I found a study that shows if you go on auto pay, customers actually use on average 4% more energy because it's out of sight, out of mind. And finally, this presentation wouldn't be complete if we didn't talk about how you can pair technology with rates. So think of things like smart home devices, alerts, device orchestration, in-home storage. These things can help drive even more energy efficiency when paired with rates. So I will end with 3 recommendations for you. How do we design great rates? Number 1, give customers choice. Explain all of the options in plain English. Talk about the costs, the environmental impacts, provide online rate calculators, and make it easy for customers to opt into a rate and switch. Number 2, make it easy to manage your consumption. So if a customer chooses a time of use rate or a demand-based rate, use technology so they don't accidentally plug in their electric vehicle and have that charging while their AC is running on full blast during peak times. And number 3, that carrot, aligned incentives. Make it so that what's good for the customer is good for the utility and it's good for the environment. If you just choose one at the expense of the others, it's not going to work in the long term. So that's a wrap. How do we design great rates? We're going to go beyond a carrot and a stick Give customers choice, make it easy, and align incentives so you don't have to choose between having an affordable power bill and doing what's right for the environment. Thanks.